You'll be all right. But I am pissed off, to be frank with you. I'm going to read from my phone what I have to say about that situation, regardless of whether you care or not, because the internet needs to hear this. The 1975 did not waltz into Malaysia unannounced. They were invited to headline a festival by a government who had full knowledge of the band, its well-publicised political views, and its routine stage show. The Malaysian festival organisers' familiarity with the band was the basis of their invitation. Me Kissing Ross was not a stunt suddenly invented to provoke the government. It was an ongoing part of the 1975 stage show which has been performed many times prior. Similarly, we chose to not change our set that night, to play, pro-freedom of speech, pro-gay songs. To eliminate any routine part of the show in an effort to appease the Malaysian authorities, bigoted views of LGBTQ people would be a passive endorsement of those politics. As liberals are so fond of saying, silence equals violence, use your platform. So we did that, and that is where things got complicated. Naturally, the Malaysian authorities were irate because homosexuality is criminalised and punishable by death in their authoritarian theocracy. That is the violent reality obscured by the more friendly term cultural customs. But it was the liberal outrage against our band for remaining consistent with our pro-LGBTQ stage show which was the most puzzling thing. Lots of people who appeared to be liberal people contended that the performance was an insensitive display of hostility against the cultural customs of the Malaysian government, and that the kiss was a performative gesture of allyship. To start, the idea of calling out a performer for being performative is mind-numbingly redundant as an exercise. Performing is the performer's job. The stage is a place for mimesis, for creating artistic expressions which are inherently dramatized. That's why audiences go to fucking shows. Other apparent liberal people contended that the kiss was itself a form of colonialism. That the 1975, in the rich tradition of evil white men past, forcing its Western beliefs upon the Eastern world. My, how the West has fallen, ladies and gentlemen. The Dutch East India Company could have saved a fortune on weaponry if they knew that all they had to do was make out with each other to forcibly subjugate the people that they exploited. To call the 1975's performance colonialism is a complete inversion of the word's meaning. Colonialism is the practice of forcible occupation and economic exploitation. Once again, the 1975 was invited into the country to headline Malaysia's music festival in an effort to capitalize on our popularity so they could make money. Despite the band being amateur jiu-jitsu enthusiasts, we're not very good. We have no capacity at all to enforce our will on anyone in Malaysia. In fact, it was the Malaysian authorities who briefly imprisoned us. So for performers like Julian Casablancas, who took to Twitter to criticize us, this bizarre mangling of colonial identity politics merely served as an expedient way to express their own disappointment with the festival's cancellation, because it would be in poor taste, surely, to lament the loss of performance fee. So these are the kind of mental gymnastics that are employed by celebrities to save face with their liberal-appearing audience, who delight in having their favourite academic catchphrases parroted back to them. Now, I'm not waiting for applause, I'm just calming down. Levying the accusation of colonialism against Western critics is by now a standard PR procedure in the authoritarian theocracy playbook. Just last summer, amidst criticism of human rights abuses against the enslaved workers who built their soccer facilities, the UAE's representatives contended that Western journalists who highlighted this fact were guilty of enforcing their colonial gaze on their local religiously bond customs. But the fact that the UAE employs the Western consulting group McKinsey to write this kind of perverted relativism is a great stroke of irony. And the fact that the UAE was the first country to kick the 1975 out for being gay is the cherry on the cake. There's a contradiction at the heart of the liberals' outrage over our supposed cultural insensitivity. Their unconditional belief in inclusivity and religious tolerance has led them to indirectly support a government which is intolerant of their own existence. What responsibility do liberals have to be ideologically chivalrous to those who wish them death? If you truly believe that artists have a responsibility to uphold their liberal virtues by using their massive platforms, then those artists should be judged by the danger and the inconvenience that they face for doing so, not by the rewards that they receive for parroting the consensus. And there's nothing particularly stunning or brave about changing your fucking profile picture whilst you're sat in your house in Los Angeles. Malaysia, I'm nearly finished, but I'm fucking pissed off with this shit. Malaysia's militarized enforcement of laws against public displays of homosexuality creates a clear line in the sand for what artists are allowed and expected to do. But elsewhere, this line isn't so defined. Even here in America, there's loads of states which uphold illiberal laws that restrict people's bodily autonomy and gender expression. I don't know why you're sharing that. But I suspect I've got an inkling that those who took to Twitter to voice their outrage over the 1975's unwillingness to cater to Malaysian customs would find it abhorrent if the 1975 were to acquiesce to, let's say, Mississippi's perspective on abortion or trans rights. Overall, before I leave you, the idea that it's incumbent upon artists to cater to the local cultural sensitivities of wherever they've been invited to perform sets a very dangerous precedent. It should be expected that if you invite dozens of Western performers into your country, they'll bring their Western values with them. If doing the same things which made you aware of them could land them in jail in your country, you're not actually inviting them to perform. You're indirectly commanding them to reflect your country's policies by omission. This kind of state ventriloquism goes against the very idea of art as a site of cultural exchange where differences are allowed to coexist. That is a more valuable idea to protect than the bigoted sensitivities of those who wish its demise. Yeah. Don't forget who wrote this.